All right, it is time to recap some of season 4. I'm very excited, Tom. Season 4, I'm glad that it's over.
I'm glad that it's over. As we know now that season 5 is supposed to be one of our better seasons, because season 4,
yes,
we got through it, folks. We got through it.
Al and Miles say season 5 is much better. I know, Ryan, you're looking forward to that.
I am. Thank you.
Yes. You tired this morning?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm tired every morning.
Oh, interesting. Big thank you to everyone who has been with us over the last 4 seasons. It's crazy how time flies. I cannot believe we are nearly halfway done with the series. I mean, one more season and then we'll be halfway done.
We're nearly halfway done with the podcast.
But if people don't, if patrons, if we got to have the patron support, or there's no way I'm doing season 8 without me. Unless, we get a lot of support here. Because that's a lot of work for me.
Is it going to be me and Ryan doing the podcast because you're not in the series anymore?
Could be.
It's just me and Ryan.
Need to take Michael's ability to give bombs away.
Oh, it's going to be bomb central station.
Everything's going to be 2 bombs. Everything.
No, I'll try to look. Some people say the show was worse after I left. Some people say it was good. I'll be the judge of that.
What if we get to season 8 instead of Ryan's favorite scene, we do Michael's favorite scene?
That might be the thing to do.
We just switch it around.
Michael's favorite scene, it could be. Well, guys, I thought about this. Look, if you haven't seen it yet, myself, Ryan, and Tom did a live watch through of season 4, the finale over on our Patreon. So if you're a patron, go check it out at patreon.com/Talkville. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's literally our reactions of watching it, and it's a lot of fun. And look, before we head into season 5, which will start in a few weeks on Wednesday, July 17th, we wanted to recap season 4. All right, what are your guys' general feelings for this 4th season of the show after getting through, through it and heading into season 5? Obviously, the tattoo storyline, you know how I feel about that. That just kept going, and it was like an Ever-Ready battery commercial. It keeps going and going, and I hated it. I hated that whole storyline. I hated that.
You hating that storyline
brought joy to you.
Brought me a lot of joy because I kept waiting to see how it was going to keep going and then how they would somehow settle it. But I will say that I feel like the characters seem to be growing up. There's less of a high school feel, which is my positive takeaway from it. And hopefully in season 5, we're going to get,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, rewriting storylines to accommodate cast members, Jensen Ackles, Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder. I mean, that's tricky, but it was great to have them on the show. It added intrigue, excitement. There was that, so I appreciated that. I wish they would have lived longer. And
I'm surprised we don't have an episode called Intrigue yet.
Yeah, seriously.
Or Tattoo.
It's too basic though. Intrigue. Guest stars: Jane Seymour, Michael Ironside, Sarah Carter, Kyle Gallner, and Bud the dog. Now, listen, I want to say something about Michael Ironside. I don't hate the guy. It just was a moment where I'm like, this guy's kind of being a dick. And that was my first impression. Maybe he's a great guy. Maybe people love him. I don't know. Maybe he's easy to work with. I got a bad vibe. It was a bad introduction. I think he was out of place.
It was a poor introductionary interaction. You weren't in a scene. We were in a scene. We're trying to do something, and you walk in and you kind of blow it up, which I'm used to and I enjoy. But here he is as a guest star, as a professional adult, and he's like, "Oh, you're that guy." I mean, we've talked about this before.
It just was weird.
Then you were like, "Well, who are you?" And he's like, "Who are you?"
Well, you know what it is? I reached out to shake my hand. He just kind of looked at me for a second.
We got to have him on the podcast in season 5 for no reason.
God. Why are you
for no reason?
I don't remember that. Jane Seymour was a treat. I didn't have a lot with her, but she was always kind, joy to work with. I saw her recently at a party. We took pictures together. And Kyle Gallner played the Flash. He's great. He's a friend of mine. He's been on the Inside of You podcast. He was great. Bud the dog, of course.
I thought we had a lot of good guests this year. I thought, you quarterback a lot of that, getting people to be a part of this, and thank you for that. But I thought we had a lot of interesting conversations with people this season.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun. Hopefully we could do that next year.
Yeah, like St. John. That was an awesome one.
St. John from Remy Zero. That was he was lovely. Look, we're excited about season 5 for no other reason than Alan Miles say it's one of the best seasons, and it gave us the extra 5 years. So we'll see. I don't usually hear that and go, oh, well, this is going to be great. I go, we'll see. I'd like to see how good it is. It might be too much hype, but I don't know. Some people thought season 4 was great. All right, here we go. The best of season 4 voting results. Thank you, everyone who participated again. We had thousands participate, and it's fun seeing where we all differ. Best guest appearance. First time, not including Erica Durance because that would be too easy. The choices are Jane Seymour, Michael Ironside, Kyle Gallner, Peyton List, Margot Kidder, Jared Kiso, Sarah Carter, Shelby, Kobe Smulders.
And
the winner with a 45% of the vote goes to, who do you think? Sarah
Shelby?
Carter.
Oh, really?
Sarah Carter, 45%. Runner-up was Kyle Gallner, The Flash.
That's
all
cool.
right. Best explosion.
Ending explosion, Crypto. Sword guy explodes from Gone. The Rainbow Blast in Ageless. Clark's nightmare explosion in Scare. Meteor shower truck, Commencement.
I bet it was the meteor shower. That's what I'm saying, Tom.
Clark's dream explosion.
What is it, Ryan?
And the talkie goes too. With 55% of the
talkie.
vote. The talkie.
It's a talkie. You win a talkie.
The Villy. Maybe the Villy.
So Sarah Carter won a talkie for best guest appearance.
Should we get like a 2-headed trophy to hand out to the winners every season?
We should.
With 55% of the vote, Meteor Shower from Commencement. The runner-up was Clark's Nightmare Explosion and Scare.
Tom, best sad moment.
Sad moment, if there's such a thing. Martha in John's hospital room, Crusade. Lex walking out of prison, episode Bound. Chloe ending, episode Scare. Alicia death, episode Pariah. Martha disappointed in Clark, episode Unsafe. Chloe cleaning out Torch, episode Forever. The winner with 58% of the vote.
Let me guess. I'm not looking.
Oh.
It's either Martha or Alicia's death. I'm going to go with Alicia's death. Ryan?
I would say so too. The fans seem
to
like
Tom? What's the answer?
Oh, it looks like the winner with 58% of the vote, Alicia Death in Pariah.
All right.
Martha. Alicia is cleaning up this season. Very impactful.
The runner-up, Martha in John's hospital room, Crusade. Most confusing moment. That could be many. Padded stunt in Crypto. Why he brought her to the sewer in Recruit. How Lois knew where they were in Gone. Karaoke scene in Pariah. Why they washed hands in the center of the room in Commencement. Oh my God. How Lex didn't recognize the assistant in Bound. Why he shot his son in Blank.
By the way, thank you, Bryce, for finding these. These are all so ridiculous. I love it.
I got to say, washing the hands in the center of Commencement. I was pissed.
Just saying it is ridiculous, but the padded stunt for me is very special because I remember being there and being very ridiculous, but I don't
know. Why he shot his son? That's what I'm going to go with.
Winner with 28% of the vote. Why he shot his son in Blank. Runner-up, how Lex didn't recognize the murderous assistant in Bound.
The nominees for best they're not acting like themselves moment. Oh, my favorite category.
This is the best ever.
They're not acting like themselves moment.
Oh, God.
We have Lana, Crouching Tiger from Sacred. The Witches from Spell.
Oh.
Kal-El Takes Flight from Crusade. Chloe, the Cheerleader from Devoted.
Oh.
Clark's Lionel mannerisms in Transference. Bad Lex being the villain in Onyx. Martha ice cream moment in Spirit. And Amnesia Clark in Blank.
What do you think, Tom?
The one that jumps out to me is Chloe Cheerleader.
For the best not acting like themselves?
Yeah, like she did such a great job not being herself in the best way. Like she was just not Chloe at all.
I gotta say, my Lex Luthor in Onyx. Losing his mind.
But you were supposed to lose your mind.
But hey, who's the winner?
Well, I guess this race was a little bit closer than the other ones. The winner with 35% of the vote was Clark's Lionel mannerisms from Transference. with Bad Lex being the runner-up.
You win a talkie.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Lex is the
well. Sorry, Michael. That's the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Best smooch.
Best smooch.
Kiss of death. Facade. Busted in the office. Transference. Lana kisses Clark tied up in spell. Clark and Alicia get married. Unsafe. Lana's kiss goodbye. Commencement.
It's got to be busted in the office.
Oh, I'm going to go with Clark and Alicia getting married.
Winner with 40% of the vote. Lana's kiss goodbye in commencement. Runner-up, Clark and Alicia get married in unsafe. Best save. Clark saves Jason for the shotgun-wielding player in Devoted. Bart saves Jonathan opening Run. Clark makes the play and save. Jinx. 5. Fire tornado. Bound. Alicia takes a bullet. Unsafe. Shelby saves Clark. Crypto. Clark's fatal carpal tunnel. Forever. Clark saves Kid from meteor shower in commencement. What do you guys think?
I got to go. I mean, she's cleaning up, so I got to go. I'm going to take Alicia. Alicia takes a bullet.
Ryan?
I think the one I remembered the best was him. Clark makes the play in the save and Jinx, but I don't think that's it. I think it might be him saving the kid.
Winner with 43% of the vote. Clark saves Kid from meteor shower in commencement. Runner-up, Clark makes the play and saves Jinx. All right.
Close.
Best fight. Clark versus Clark. Crusade. Lois kicks ass bitch. Facade. Prison Riot. Transference. Sandman. Pariah. Crouching Tigers. Sacred. Lex and Clark. Onyx. Lana stabs Jane. Commencement.
Man, I like all of these a lot. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, I do remember the Prison Riot being such a production. So maybe that's it. But all of these are great.
Right.
All of these.
And the Prison Riot as well.
Winner with 29% of the vote. Prison Riot. Transference.
Wow.
Runner-up, Lex versus Lex and Clark in Onyx.
A lot of Lex runners up.
Yes, true. Talkville is brought to you by Factor. What would we do without Factor meals? Guys, I spend a fortune. Tom, we spend a fortune on well, you have a wife, she cooks. But like for me, it's like I order delivery services and they charge a fortune. You get like a Chinese meal and with taxes and delivery and tip, it's like $40. And it's like with Factor meals, you're getting unbelievable meals, quality meals, healthier meals at your door for a fraction of the price. It almost feels like I can get 10 Factor meals for as much as I pay for one delivery service. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore with Factor.
Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Help meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto.
Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, Tom, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. And we always talk about new healthy routines. And when you start adding them up, you start to see a difference in your life. And I don't have a lot of time and I don't want to waste money on delivery or going to the grocery store and end up keeping those products in my refrigerator like, oh, the bacon I never used or, oh, the meats I never used. It's like these meals are ready in 2 minutes. It's pretty incredible.
I think that one of the things that I like about Factor from my own experience, and this is true, is by the time you get hungry and like for you especially, it's like, oh, what am I going to order? How long is it going to take for it to be here? You know, all that, you know, sort of trying to look forward to the planning, you just open up your fridge and you're like, that's what I want and I'm ready to eat it.
Yeah. And they also have these meals that like, they have delivery services where you have to like, you know, they tell you all the ingredients and you have to actually cook it all and do all these things. And it's like, oh my gosh, and I'd make it wrong. And it like none of those work. Factor works. Treat yourself to restaurant quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready, like we said, in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning.
Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced.
Head to Factor Meals, folks. factormeals.com/Talkville50 and use code Talkville50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code TALKVILLE50 at factormeals.com/TALKVILLE50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
I'll just add that code, it's already well priced. Like, it's a fair price. But when you take 50% off of what they're actually selling for, it's a no-brainer.
You have to
Like,
try
really
it.
is.
At least for 50% off your first box and 20%. You just have to try it and see what we're raving about. Factor Meals, factormeals.com/TalkVille50 and use code TalkVille50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next one. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by overpriced wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I heard that for a limited time, all Mint Mobile wireless plans are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, I thought, well, what's the catch? But after talking to them, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they sell wireless service online. They don't have retail stores or salespeople. Instead, they deliver premium phone plans directly to you.
Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages.
Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month.
All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/talkville. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for details. All right, tallying up the scores of Rosenbaum ratings. 3 roses the best, 3 bombs the worst. We know how it works. There's halves. This does not take into account the full season. So here we go. Highs and lows of season 4. Tom, his high was a 3 rose in Crusade and Onyx. His low was 1 bomb for Forever. Michael, his high was 3 in Onyx. His low was 2.5 bombs for Forever. Ryan's high was 2.5 roses in Onyx. His low, 2 bombs in Ageless. The patrons, their high was 2.6 roses in Crusade, Transferus, and Onyx. Their low was 0.2 tenths of a rose of a bomb in Ageless.
Wow.
They're very
It's interesting how the frequencies align there. That's actually pretty cool.
This is interesting. Scores summary, average by season of roses. Tom in season 1 had 1.5 rose average. Michael had a 1 rose average. Ryan a 1.3 and the patrons a 1.5. Season 2, Tom again with a 1.5. Michael a 0.8 of a rose. Ryan 1.2. Patrons 1.5 again. They're very steady. Season 3, Tom's high average was a 1.2 rose. Michael's a 0.8. Ryan a 0.8. And patrons again 1.5 roses.
Thank
Season
you,
4, Tom 1.3 roses. Michael 0.4 roses on average. Ryan 0.9 roses. And patrons 1.3. Total through 4 seasons, Tom's average is 1.4 roses. Michael is 0.8. Ryan 1.1. Patrons 1.5.
I'm going to give every episode in season 5 roses just to get my average up here.
No, 1.5 rose. You're almost at 1.5 roses. I'm not even at a rose.
That's wild.
That's why I feel bad.
But if you look at my season rating versus our patrons, I think, I'm on the same page with them.
I think you are. You're right there with them. You really are.
No.
I'm not. Ryan's favorite scene. Michael and Tom compete. Season 1, I won 9-3. Season 2, I won 6-5. Season 3, we tied at 4-4. And season 4, I won 4-2.
Yeah.
23-14, Tom. I got you. Patron voting. This was the first season we had patrons getting involved in guessing Ryan's favorite scene, and they guessed correctly 67% of the time in season 4, albeit they submit guesses blind without hearing him discuss it before voting. But I bet some of them cheated because sometimes we cheat. You do, at least. Well, this has been fun to kind of recap all this stuff. This has been a real treat. I like this more than an episode.
Yeah. Well, part of what you just said, interesting enough, when they're guessing correctly 67% of the time without being given options, I wonder if that's something for us to consider, where you and I have to pick Ryan's favorite scene without him giving us options. That might be horrible. Actually.
I don't think that would work because I wouldn't remember any scenes. I could barely remember my name. All right, that's about it, folks. Look, we had a lot of people say they're excited for us to get into season 5. So if you want to have a question asked live on the show, start calling into the hotline, 213-538-2883. Just mention the episode in reference and whatever question you have. Keep the question short. And if you want to know which episode we're getting ready to record so you can ask ahead of time, go visit talkvillepodcast.com/hotline.
All right, guys, before we leave, here are a few highlights from our time in season 4. Not only was everything cool and we have 2 awesome characters that are introduced, but I felt like I was in Paris. I felt like I was in the Sahara with Tony Stark trying to find, because I was married to Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I was all around the world. This is an episode more than any, the character I played went to different, planets, but this is the first time I felt like I was really going around our planet. And every scene was huge. I loved it.
Yeah, I felt so too. I was a little confused about some things. Maybe you guys can help me out. I don't always comprehend or understand things, which is comprehending.
It was really beautiful. I like them. I know it sounds like I'm being redundant, but it's true. It was a really magic time. Everything seemed new and magic.
It's one of those things that I truly do look back on fondly because, as you know, it's like not every set is fun. Not every set is easy. No. Not every set's enjoyable. And, having that as one of my first things and being so kind of like protected and taken care of and looked after. And it was just such a good time that, when things are hard, you can look back and be like, yeah, but it can also be really fun and really great,
I've been watching your podcast. It's so good.
It's fun. Oh, thank you.
So good. And you really, you're so candid and you're so honest, and I just love it. So congratulations.
I adore you.
It's wonderful.
I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo you after this.
I was watching the credits looking for Eric, and she's not in them.
Right. You know what?
Because she's not a season regular yet.
I wish, everybody always makes it out like you're lucky you have this job. We want you. We're going to go. We want a season out of you, whatever. And they'll pay you whatever. And they just throw shit at you and make you seem like you're not worth much. But if anybody who watched those first few episodes, if then they said, hey, we want to make you a regular, she should have been paid a lot more. I'm sure they paid her shit.
They literally started the episode with her instead of Lex.
I think they got away with paying her nothing. I really do. I have a feeling. She didn't tell me that, but I have a feeling they probably way underpaid her, which is unfair because they took advantage of the fact that she was Canadian. And I personally, that's what I think. And I don't like it, but
You got people coming up to you like, I've watched this now with my, we're getting a look at us all in our glasses. I've watched this with my grandpa.
I know.
But like seriously, but it's exciting,
Did you look forward to the scenes when you knew you were going to be making out with Tom? Be honest.
I laughed out loud multiple times. I thought everyone was funny. I thought it was so ridiculous. But it was goofy. And I think I get why audience people like it.
I know. I'm the only one that I didn't like it because I liked you guys, but I just thought it was so ridiculous. What are we doing with this witchcraft and shit?
I agree. I understand that. But I mean,
you have to understand that the quote unquote freak of the week is only a catalyst for our main characters to develop, right?
I watched Smallville.
You did?
I watched it from the pilot episode when I lived in New York. It was part of my appointment TV. It was my generation. I mean, I would have been 14 when the first season came out.
All right, stop it. We don't need to hear this.
I was the WB audience. Like that was me. And I didn't watch every single WB show, but Smallville was one of the best ones. And it was it was different for me because I didn't really watch anything like, I mean, a lot of DC stuff was around and movies were being made, but I didn't really follow comic books.
Me neither.
Really.
Me neither.
So it was my introduction, like, I know I'm not supposed to say it, but like as a girl getting into something like Superman, it just wasn't really my bag until Smallville. So, it was like a really different show for me and I was a huge fan. And, you guys were kind of it as, 14, 15, 16, 17. I go out to LA and they're like, yeah, and you do Smallville.
I think the role that I played on Smallville ended up being one that was pretty special. It was about, the two of us seeing each other's secret. And, Greg actually is a pretty spiritual guy, not religious necessarily, but he is somebody who follows his instinct and has a sense of, who's going to bring what quality and how they're going to fit into whatever show. And I did feel like this role was one that I was sort of, we all have roles that you're sort of like made for. You're the person that is meant to kind of carry that. I call it medicine now because I've become, a little kooky that way. But I think the reason why Smallville is such a successful show is because it's about, sort of the beyond human, right? Like the superhuman. And I always felt like that was a bit of a secret, like whatever sparkle, whatever, drives me. And that was a fun story to tell.
I like that.
How it can make you crazy. Like the permission to have both the like innocence and then the complete insanity that goes with feeling different and, not fitting in. And there's the only one person in the world who really sees me, that whole sort of like young love.
I mean, I cast your show and, for the background and stuff like that. We talked about that a lot, but it really makes it a little bit more strange when all of a sudden you're inserted into that world. So it's kind of bizarre. And so the last thing you want to do is be of any kind of detraction or anything of what's going on. So I think I put a lot of heavy stuff on. So I didn't need to.
Well, but with that said, Lois was doing the same thing. It was life imitating art. Lois was kind of coming into this thing and being like, what are all these people doing? Not necessarily caring how she was going to fit in, which was the difference. But,
right. I don't care.
And she spoke her internal dialogue, which was something no character had done before. And I just thought you brought the age level up. And I mean that in a respectful way. Like, we weren't just talking about like high school stuff anymore. We were talking about real things.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Tom, this year has flown by. I can't believe we're already almost halfway through it. I mean, it's honestly astonishing. And when life goes fast, when it goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Therapy is so helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. And it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy truly is for everyone. If you're thinking of starting therapy, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist anytime for no additional charge.
Take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/Talkville today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Talkville. They had me come back a couple days early, which I wasn't a big fan of, in order to meet and do some scenes with Erica. I mean, I really wasn't. But then when I met her, I was like, she's just awesome. And the way that she kind of just spins like that, it made it easy for me to not really do much other than watch her. It was a good introduction between our characters. We didn't have to jump into the banter, which you'll see in the next episode, where we start to actually get a little like romantic banter.
That's Erica. Like, she's just amazing. And she was so, I would say welcoming, but like calming. for me, kind of coming into all this chaos. And it was like, you don't really know that. You know it, but you don't know it until like many, many years down the line. You work on different things and you look back and you're like, man, she didn't have to do that. She did not have to like mother hen the way she did.
You get to have some bad experiences and look back and be like, actually, that one was a good one.
Exactly. And Smallville I had done a few episodes of, guest stars, episodic TV back in New York. But Smallville was my first time it felt like my first job in primetime television. Like I had not shot a schedule like that before. I had not had that amount of workload before in that medium. I was basically coming from soaps, which could not have been more different.
I mean, you dunked it. It was you.
I mean, to catch the ball and to dunk it, I just don't remember, but I really hope that was me.
You did it.
Because if that was me, then the dunk was a surprise.
I bet they lowered the rim for you.
No, I don't think so.
No. I don't know.
I actually rewound that about 7 times trying to figure out if it was actually me or not. But I don't know who else it would be. But it could have been Chris. I mean, Chris has skills, but I watched it 7 times.
It was you. It was you. I think it was you. I know your body. That didn't sound right. I know his body. Oh, did you throw that ball?
I did. And you know who gave me tips? Well, Tom did some up at Jensen, actually.
Really?
There you go. Coach Jensen.
Coached by Jensen. And it was terrifying. And now I don't know how to spin a ball at all. Like I threw as my kid and useless. So it was to break everybody's fantasy. I was terrible at it, but I did do it.
It totally worked. And I didn't know you were left-handed. But the way, the way you kind of watching it, yesterday, the way you it looks like you step into it. You're out of position. Like, don't get me wrong. But you followed through. And I imagine that's what Jensen was like, just chuck it. And
just keep going.
And I got to say, I remember when he came on the show and I was like, man, this guy deserves his own show. I think he could do something.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he'd already had a full career.
Well, he also auditioned for Smallville, didn't get it.
Yeah, it's weird seeing him on the show now and thinking if he was Clark Kent through the series so far, it just feels like it wouldn't have been.
Well, you always say that, but if he was, and then Tom, you might have said the same thing.
Yeah, probably.
You only think of Tom as the role.
Right.
He just did. So I can't imagine anyone playing the role. But if someone else played the role, maybe, I don't know. Like if someone was Lex Luthor, it'd be different. Maybe he'd be the best Lex Luthor.
It was so fun. Watching that, I was like, Jensen has such a easy kind of chill, like he just is so cool. And so his performances are just really free and natural. And I think that was nice for me to engage with, because the scenes that I have with you, Tom, are always every line, it means like 5 different things. And it's like a very methodical kind of, like it's different than the like looseness, and the looseness that his character had and that he naturally has was really, really fun to work with. And was, Erica too, that she has the same thing. So like, there's like a breath, it just is alive again, which was nice.
Everybody was so nice with their time, and really, I truly learned a lot on that episode because everybody kind of took me under their wing, and it was really a very safe space to kind of fuck up almost. Like I remember there was a scene where I had to show the kryptonite, and they were like, you need to tilt it. And I was like, but I don't understand what you mean. like I didn't know what they were talking about. Or there was another scene where like you threw a bad guy through the roof, and I'd never been on a set where there's stunts and there's stuff. And I just kept thinking, I was like, thank God the camera wasn't on me, because as soon as you launched that guy through the roof, I was like, like I would have completely ruined the shot, because I had never been around anything like that before.
So you were a kid in a candy store pretty much. You were sort of like,
oh my
holy
God.
shit.
I mean, it was so fun.
I think if I hadn't had the experiences of like Smallville, or I think I did Flash before that, like I think having that sort of that genre and that comic book stuff, like it would have been totally different to go in and try to do Poison Ivy if you didn't have this sort of behind you and feel like you have an idea of what you're kind of supposed to be doing, if that makes sense.
When we flew out there, we actually got to meet all you guys. And I have to say, just before we begin or whatever, you guys were the kindest, nicest people. And I'm just really thankful for that. You guys are really sweet to me.
Did you think you were going to become a regular on the show? Did they ever talk about how much they liked you and they're like thinking about maybe writing something in where you're more of a regular character?
No, I mean, they did definitely say, you're coming back and we love you. And I actually got this sweet certificate from Warner Brothers saying that I was the favorite guest star of all time. So, it was something really special.
Wow.
They let me, I mean, it's true that I'm still kind of recognized for my little part on Smallville. People were affected by Crazy Alicia.
I remember this being very difficult because, I enjoyed working with Sarah and I didn't want to see her go. But even more difficult, it's how do you get to this place of emotion, watching someone die. And I remember asking Sarah, can you just, would you please not look at me?
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous, but she knew what I meant. And I think you know what I mean by that, because it's the loss is what you're tapping into. Is I want this to be different. I don't want this situation to be what it is. I want it to be different. I could have done something different. And as you see Clark move away from this scene, he is very agitated. A lot of my preparation going into Transference was reference to a movie, and I've talked about this in the past, of Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. And one of the things they do is they establish mannerisms between the two very quickly, and then when they reverse personalities, they reestablish those so you know what's going on. In watching this episode, I didn't really see that be all that effective, but I did see Clark, or at least me as an actor, being more free. And I appreciate what Ryan said earlier that made me feel good. Because I think I would have done things. This is one of those few episodes where I really would have done a lot of things differently looking back on it. And I don't feel that way a lot. But this one I would. But then Ryan's like, no, you did. You guys are both like, you did a great job. And I'm like, I just would change so much. It's so crazy.
This Jonathan Clark back patting, was it written or ad-lib between you two?
That was me.
You patted him on the back?
I liked it.
I that could have been just John the actor being pissed at you.
They don't write that stuff. They liked it so much they had to move the camera to catch his reaction to it. That's how I remember it. But it was me effing with John, and John went with it because he saw what was happening. But yeah, it wasn't written.
I love it.
Being on this thing that you had to lay on in order to keep your head up to fly, and it was almost like surfing where you really had to kind of get your chest up. And I made a point to not blink when Clark was flying. That was a choice I made, which wasn't easy because they're blowing wind at you.
Not Clark,
but
Kal-El.
I just never, I never wanted him to blink flying, and hopefully I get away with it. That slow motion running, I remember feeling a lot of pressure because they had guys on stilts, holding positions, and they were like, action. And then the camera and me would run through everyone. And I remember feeling a lot of pressure about I don't want to make these guys stay there too long because it's not comfortable. I remember a lot of running, that's for sure. We did the first take, and I remember I was dancing on the stairs with the girls, and Jeannot was like, cut, Tom. And he comes in, and his headphone cans are disheveled, and he's got a little food on his face.
Yes, always.
And he's looking up at me, and he goes, Tom, you're dancing too good. Mix it up. And I was like,
my God.
Okay. And I kind of looked at Allison, and I was like, Allison, how do I dance bad? She's like, I don't know. And then I think I don't forget what she said to me, but she said something just just go off beat, kind of like Elaine on Seinfeld in a way. She goes, just don't be on beat. And then it turned into that stuff on the thing.
I had so much fun that day with you dancing on the stairs.
I noticed that, Kristen. You were he was dancing and you were kind of dancing, even though you were doing this thing. And I was like, they're getting into it. They're just doing it.
Well, you can hear me laughing, and that's me. I'm just laughing at Tom.
There was a pair of the blue boxers, and then there was a pair of briefs next to them. And I remember calling Steve over to my trailer, and I'm like, Steve, I'm not wearing these briefs. They want me. I was kind of getting a little freaked out. I'm like, I'm not wearing those. He goes, no, Tom, you put the briefs on and then you put the boxers on just so nothing starts flying around.
Oh my gosh. That
and
is
I was like,
that is a great excerpt for this podcast.
Yeah. I just remember watching Kristen, it coming so easy to her being able to do the stunts, to be able to hit the marks, and then and in a way that worked for the camera, but also kept the two of us safe because she's attacking Clark a lot. So, and I had never really been in a situation with Kristen where I saw her doing that. So, and I had been doing it a lot with other people. So I was astounded about how easy it was for her to accomplish what was being asked of her, which she always talks about too. Because we were kind of all had to be there that day and there were so many moving parts. And I always had this thing, and I've mentioned this before in the podcast, and I always had this thing about Lex in my mind that Lex should never have to move out of the way of anybody else. You've heard me talk about this before. And as you're moving through this crowd, I remember going to the director and being like, listen, I know it's not my character, but this is our show. People have to walk around Lex. He's that powerful. You got to tell everybody that comes past him. And there's only one person as you're coming down the stairs that you actually have to move a little bit for. And it almost looks like you're like, why am I moving for this person? It's like,
that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No. Ironside and I were doing a scene, and Michael kind of waltzed in and, had his banter with the crew and turned to Ironside, and Ironside looked at you and went, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'm the guy who's friendly with the entire crew. And then he said, he was kind of like, he just looked, he didn't even like, it just was weird. It was weird. I don't hate the guy. I just didn't love his vibe.
Do you remember doing something to kind of keep yourself on track between the two versions?
Yeah.
Or to indicate?
I gave him an arc, believe it or not. There was sort of as much of an arc as you can have because you're supposed to be evil. But like, I wanted you, like in the beginning, I didn't know if it was good Lex or bad Lex. And I wanted you to kind of stay with like, wait, this is the bad one. No, wait, this is the good one. I give a look, and then there's a look, and then you're like, oh, okay. And once he starts to keep going, he spirals pretty quickly and everything. So I did have an arc, and I did like, hey, this is the time you're going to be your biggest when you're with the Kents at the end. This is the biggest. You save that crescendo for the end. You're going to be subtle and like pervy with Lana, and it's going to be subtle, and she's going to smack you, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm closing down the Talon. And just kind of just pick your moments, circle your moments of what you want to do, so it doesn't become just like, oh, it's a Lex show. So that's sort of what I did.
Did you keep the script from this one and like have all your notes in it? Did you take notes on this one or no?
I did take a lot of notes, but I don't think I have it.
Because I'd be curious to see like your like underlinings and highlights.
Yeah, my notes were like, on this one, go from, like I said, 0 to 100, where he's like, I am the, like, things like that. Like, I want this moment, you turn on a dime. This moment, you go, you're lost in thought, like, I don't know, I could have done that. It's like, it's just picking those fun moments and playing them. Bad Lex shares his plans for world domination. Bad Lex then tells Jonathan he was right all along, that he is the villain of the story. This scene was magical. It was, I had no idea how it would turn out, but it had a slow build with Clark upstairs in the loft and like calming and this, and then kind of maniacal. And then he punches him, and then he goes down and he just delivers, like this is his plan. Now,
do you remember how many takes that line took, the villain of the story?
I was just going to ask you that because I know, Michael, there were times where you helped me do this as well on in scenes where you would say, just say it again, keep it rolling, say it again, just keep saying it over and over. Did you do that in this circumstance?
100%. I gave one that was, you were right about me all along, Mr. Kent. I am the villain of the story. And then I go, keep it rolling. You were right about me all along, Mr. Kent. I am the villain of the story. Keep it going. And then I did one maniacal. I gave him like 3 or 4 versions because I go, listen, I'm going to give you choices, because if you just give the same delivery and it doesn't work, you're kind of left with that. Always give options to directors.
I mean, it's the first time that I had worked with a trained animal on set, or an untrained animal on set, except for Michael. But
I love working with Jason. with Jensen. We had a good time. I remember making him laugh a lot, and I remember that scene where we take off our shirts. I'm like, I'm not taking my shirt next to this guy. Did you hate the tattoo? Did you hate wearing it? Where you're like, does it have to be there?
Oh, you mean like a tramp stamp?
Exactly what he called it.
Honestly, where else would it be? That was an easy spot to show it.
True. Very
like where
true.
you can put it on your arm, you can hide it or show it, and I don't have to like show that much skin to do it.
Yeah, anywhere else would be weird, I think.
Yeah, like what, on her ribs?
Maybe a Mike Tyson,
Yeah, just like a good face tattoo.
Yeah, big face. Lana, what's that tattoo on your face? God, you're so pre-Tyson right now.
There's going to be this music artist that I like in the future called Post Malone, and we're all going to get into it.
It's all because of Lana Lang and her face tattoo. I didn't understand what does Kal-El and all that stuff have to do with Lana in Paris?
I tell you what, it'll all make sense if she ends up getting a tattoo. Then it'll all make sense.
Well, she did.
Oh, it makes sense.
Oh, that was the joke. This can't be a great episode. This doesn't make any sense.
I want to use this guy's powers and hit you right now so you don't have to remember any of this.
Please, hand blast me. I want to be hand blasted.
God.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting on the show, but like, how could you not? Something's up, but I kind of dig it. What do you want? Sex with Lex? Too young.
There's your t-shirt.
Sex with Lex?
Philander with Alexander?
Hander for Alexander?
No.
Jeannot had said to me, she is like 1,000 years of sexuality. And I was like, I don't know what the
I'm a
fuck
child.
that means. But I am picking up what you're putting down. I get my assignment, and I'm just going to be OTT with this. And I was.
Romance, schmomance. Fighting is so much more fun.
Clark probably has incredible stamina. He could probably go on forever. He could probably just sex it up for hours and days on end.
I don't know, his fire eyes kind of get triggered pretty quick, so I think he's still in that stage.
You can't hide those fire eyes.
That's funny, right? It's like, let's try this. Well, there's a lot of concerns here. Yeah, one is that my heat vision may go right into your skull.
When I was younger, if I watched something like this, I'd be like, whoa, because I couldn't get nailed in a wood shop. I think that Smallville was referring to his penis, and that's how it continued on.
What?
Isn't that how she when
she said
she calls Clark Smallville? Is that like calling him about his because she saw his wiener?
No. Is that a joke?
That's sort of the joke, but it's sort of like could have been. She's in the shower. He's in the shower. She already saw him naked.
She was hoping for Metropolis. She got Smallville.
I don't know. I think she was talking.
But she already saw him in the corn. She already saw him in the cornfield and was impressed.
She was talking about his wiener. No, she called it Little Clark or whatever.
Clark Jr.
Clark Jr. I mean, if you ask a person who is,
we got to ask Erica. We got to ask Erica when she's on the podcast.
If you met a really incredibly short person, and then you said,
"Oh boy,
oh
Jason,"
and the guy's name was Rob, you'd say, "Hey, Rob Jr." And he's small. You'd be like, "What does that mean? Because I'm small, so now my wiener's small."
You know, I'm at Smallville.
Yeah, there you go.
So you're saying that this show is named after this situation?
Yeah, it's named after
the entire show.
And remember, folks,
always
hold on to Smallville. All right, now it's time to give a big shout out to all of you who contribute and support and give to the show. Patrons, we love you. Patreon.com/Talkville. Let's give a shout out. Tom, why don't you start with us and read these gorgeous people's names?
Well, we all know Leanne P., Raj C., Santiago M., Little Lisa, Thomas, Tom Turner, Shane W., Sophie M., Betsy D., Abby P., Abby P., Ray H., Karen Apple M., 99 more. I like that one. Leilani N., Brett G., always hold on to Smallville, Esteban G., Garrett W., Bob K., Kimberly L., Tom N., and Jason W.
Osama A., Glenda P., Lana rhymes with banana W., Nancy D., Brian G, Sarah W, YVR Grips, Vancouver Grips, Anna M, Amanda R, Brandy S, Teddy 127, Michael P, Ryan R, Jordan M, Randy B, Craig G, Jorel, Heather and Sweet Greg, or Sweet Heather and Greg. I may talk, they'll say butts. Brian Hinnenkamp, Eric K, Kristen B, Darth Achilles, Finky, Early is on time, Miss Charles, Clarl, Kent, Miss
Clark,
Kent. Clark.
This is going well.
Damn, who's that? Jeanette E, Deadvid, General Zod, Theodore, Nathan B, Jammin J, Doug R, Carlos C, Tom Hizzy, Boston 68, Ken the Limerick Guy, Corey L, Mr. Home Arcade, Jess C, Claire M, D Brown, Karenera M, Jules M, Eldon Supremo, Leslie V, Brian P, McBurts, Ginger Moose. Please remember Janice from North Carolina.
Man, you just killed that. Christoph S, Michelle M, Drew, Amanda Lynn. I love playing the Amanda Lynn.
The Amanda Lynn.
Jessica B, Michael Kine doesn't blink. Sebastian F, Wolfie in the house tonight. Dak Flendo. Cool. Steven the grocery checker, my buddy down the street. Matthew and Lincoln B, Breyer. Charlene A, the Coopers. Marianne Louise L, C, Geo. Cindy C, Nikki L, Shannon Fofanen. Tina E, Matt Rick. Jen T, not Gento, but Jen T. Randy S, Cassie B, Brad A, Felicia R, Danny Mo,
Mirabelle L.
Danny Mo, Mirabelle L. Thanks for making me look stupid. JS, Mary K, Steve and Nate Danger. When you're rich, you aren't crazy, you're eccentric. Rosenbaum fan, Sammy Sharman. Thank you for that. Carrie Ann, Patrick R. The Alexander Castle, Daryl E. Spicy Chicken, Jenny B. 76. Anna B. Monica T. Jeffrey K. Pimp Kenobi, Katya C. Previously on Smallville. Matt C. Deepro, Sija.
Segal, maybe Sejal. And Devin.
Yeah.
Why don't you phonetically put that name down so we could read it? Go ahead.
Chadwick B. Keith B. Major Paradox, Cook K.
Cookie K. The patron saint of Smallville, Libertariat, Biagio C. Cal L 38, Felicia B, Lady J, Salty Ann, Murphy C, David L, Madison H, Mika J, Tori H, Paul the Grim G, Stephanie T, Guitar God 021, JD Turkleton, Kelowna A, Z, Wicked Stepdad, Joel B, Natalia, Dr. JCA, Jacia, or whatever, Red Blue Blur 8, Dr. G, My Paradoxal Me. And we love you. Thank you so much for supporting us, and that's why we say your name every episode, because we love you.
We try to say
We mess up your names. There's someone at the con I was at this week in Nashville, and she was like, you say my name wrong, and it was very like Monica. I think it was for the other podcast, but I was like, okay, she was, please remember that. I go, good one.
Yeah.
I'll try. All right, thank you guys. Tommy, see you later, buddy.
Thanks, bud.